Well, greetings, everybody. Um, as we get this new week started, I thought I'd make some comments about my reading of First and Second Thessalonians, and I haven't gotten too far in grading the papers for your surveys of the epistles. I'll do that later on today. So my comments won't be so much in response to your papers. I have read two or three of them, and what I've received is pretty good stuff. So thank you for your work on these, and James was really good work. I think everybody got their stuff in, so I think we're off to a pretty good start for the semester. Right, as far as the Thessalonian epistles, I guess I have to tell a little bit of story about myself. Yeah, when I was in Bible college, and then also really up to, well, yeah, I guess Bible college, which is now Corbin. Everybody in my generation went to the Thessalonian epistles for eschatology. As you may know, 1 Thessalonians 4:13 through 17, I think it is the passage for the rapture of the church, which was a proof text among dispensationalists for a pre-trib view of coming events. The secret rapture, not the second coming. That was commented on in 2 Thessalonians, and the coming of the Lord with all of his saints to judge the wicked and rescue the righteous and whatnot. So that's kind of why anybody went to the Thessalonian epistles was for eschatology. And I realize that's not the case today, and I'm not suggesting that you read these without that in view. Obviously, there are percentage of the space given to these letters, I mean, it's pretty significant. So, if you teach or preach through them, you're going to have to make up your mind about what you're going to do with those passages. And that's going to take some work on your part, because what are you going to say about them? What do they represent? Do they represent a secret rapture other than the second coming? Do they talk about the second coming of Christ in both epistles? So, not that you have to get all that figured out ahead of time before the passages can mean anything or profit from you, profit for your people that you're preaching or teaching, but you should think that through before you get started on those epistles. But that reminds me, sometime back, during those days, I thought, this can't be that complicated. I'm just going to read First and Second Thessalonians over and over again, and just keep reading them as long as I have to figure out what Paul is saying about eschatology. And so I did that. And lo and behold, I don't know how many times it took me to read through them, and I realized, hey, this is not the main theme of the Thessalonian epistles. It's really about godly living. It's holiness of life. It's telling them to act like mature Christians, and hold to the faith and love one another, and encouraging them to keep on doing what they were doing. Examples of turning from idols to serve the living God. I mean, the epistles were so encouraging of what they had already done by way of living for Christ, and then Paul is encouraging them to do more. So to me, that's the theme that stands out, is just holiness of living in both epistles. Right. The other thing that impacted me a lot when I was preaching and pastoring was how Paul described himself relative to the Thessalonian believers. It's very personal. In fact, I don't think in any other epistle that he writes that it gets this personal. He talks about himself both in the analogy of a father and a mother caring for his children, which I don't think is the case in any other epistle. And just the value that he put upon their faith and steadfastness. And one of the passages that just struck me when I was pastoring was the end of chapter 2, where he says that, for what is our hope or joy or crown of boasting before our Lord Jesus at his coming? Is it not you? For you are our glory and joy. And that really hit me. In fact, it still does today. The people that we minister to, uh, how often do we think that that is our glory and joy if the people that we minister to remain faithful? We often gauge our success by other means, other ways. But the people that I minister to, that I preach to, that they remain faithful, that they remain steadfast, they don't go off into weird stuff. That's what I'm looking forward to when I get to glory, is knowing that they've done that, and that's my glory and my joy. And I don't think Paul is exaggerating. That's how we felt about these people. That's why he said he prayed for them just every day. And that blew me away too. People that he's now gone from, that he's off doing other stuff in Athens and getting ready to go to Corinth and preach there, and yet he has these people in his heart and his mind, and you almost get the impression that they're always going to be there. He's always going to be praying for them, and I suspect that's the way he was with anybody that he ministered to, which is just extraordinary in my thinking. But it reminds me as a minister and somebody who's given my life to serve other people that's really the focus that I should have, is others, not me, not how I consider my life to be successful or whatever, pleasing to the Lord. It's the effect that I've had on other people, and whether they are remaining faithful and true. So to me, that stands out in these epistles, and it's a good reminder for all of us of where our values need to be and where our heart needs to be, and praying for the people that we minister to. All right, so we move from here to Galatians, which I can't imagine a sharper contrast between the encouraging letters to the Thessalonians and also then what we have in the book of Galatians, which is just Paul being so upset, so concerned about the effects of what we call the Judaizers and their efforts to move the people away from the gospel, and the fact that they likely had some success in doing that. And Paul so strongly has to defend himself, defend the gospel. And that brings some emphases that are pretty special to the book of Galatians, that we're not going to find as strongly emphasized as we will in other epistles. So that'll be the task for this week as we read through Galatians and then prepare the summary for it. So I hope you have a good week, and thank you for the work so far. And I'll be praying for you. I have been, that this might be a profitable exercise for you all. Thank you.